Reasonable Sanity Podcast. What is it? Is it a real podcast? Is it a fake scam podcast? Is it long-form prank calling at its finest? Maybe it's sort of all three. But personally, I always saw it as me asking one simple question. What if I chose to run a podcast poorly on purpose? And I did just that.
If you ever call me again, I'm calling the FBI. Well, you are beyond disgusting.
Want an apology, that's all.
Fuck you.
You need
Fuck you.
Give us an apology.
Welcome to a reasonably sane tale, the story of Reasonable Sanity Podcast. Reasonable Sanity Podcast is made up of 3 parts. First, we have the cast. There is the host, Ryan Token. Then there is his sidekick producer, Carol. And finally, we have the stars of the show, the callers. Oh, their names? Their names are line 1 through 10. The second part of the show is the guest. We would get a few type of guests over the years. We had people that were selling books like the Coca-Cola history guy, that hypnosis guy. There was another guy selling 1,001 ways to market things, but there wasn't 1,001 ways in his book. It was really weird. We also had paranormal / crazy types. They could be like UFO witnesses, psychics. Dr. Richard London is a perfect example. That UFO couple, they were amazing. And, of course, the amazing Robin. One of the other types that we would find is kind of the D-level celebrity types. That'd be like DC, the Brain Supreme, E.J. Snyder, and, of course, the most famous guest we ever had, the amazing Kreskin. And the third and final part of Reasonable Sanity Podcast is the fake commercials. Love them or hate them, every episode had its own original fake ad. We made 52 of them in total. Derek Sideburns, he wrote and made like 4 of them. Despicable Dogs helped me write one. Big Pete actually jumped in one day and just made one in like a couple of minutes. And I made 45 of them. But I certainly didn't do it alone, because the cast plus some others on the outside that I worked with helped with the voice work. It was like I had my own personal cast of comedians in both the interviews and fake ads, and they were all doing it simply because they liked the project. I was living a creative comics dream. It was awesome. That's what the show became in its final form. A 3-part cast, a guest, and a fake commercial. But it didn't start like that. To me, Reasonable Sanity Podcast really came full circle from where it started. See, in 2002 through 2004, I would get a group of my friends together to call into a live local TV station so I could make an entire series out of calling into their live shows and pranking them. It was a great deal. The station would broadcast themselves while I recorded it on my end and pranked the hell out of them. I mean, we had Dave the Retarded Psychic, the Ignorant Jim Show. We fucked with Pastor DePoy a couple of times, and we even had that crazy dude that I challenged to a fight.
Dan Black, the guy who threatened to call me, I'll be walking out of the studio in 10 minutes. I look forward to meeting you.
But it was a different time back then. You gotta understand, I'm recording on VCR. I'm calling into a local station, and all we have is landlines. There would be like pure chaos sometimes because it didn't take them long to go, okay, document that number and don't take block numbers. And so we would end up in these big pushes back and forth. Me trying to send people over to other people's houses, me running to different places just so we could make a prank phone call and screw with them.
Okay, enough of these harassing calls. If it keeps up, I'm getting up and leaving. I'm sorry. If you guys want to see me Monday nights, this is not going to happen. I won't be back on next Monday if this keeps up, okay? I've had it. No more.
But in the end, they would always win because they would just quit taking phone calls in their call-in show.
The harassment has to stop. I'm going to get out of here if it don't. Like I said, this harassment has got to stop. It's been going on, and I don't like it, and I don't need it, and I'm out of here if it don't.
I tried this same approach back in 2013 as I started to hang out with the PLA and the Madhouse community. I didn't have a whole lot of success.
What does that mean? I'm not
Well, I don't know. We're going to have to ask one Brad Carter. Brad, known as alias Jihad. He will call in an emergency to the West Coasters to get them out of work so that they can prank call us.
But we certainly got some laughs.
Hello?
Oh, hey, I'm really enjoying your show.
Thank you.
I was just wondering which one of you is the transvestite. Is it the guy in the purple?
Next caller, please.
Then in 2014, while in the middle of my phone larking years, I sort of copied an idea from a radio show called The Free Beer and Hot Wings Show. At the time, they had a co-host named Eric Sane that had been doing this bit for years called Dude Shadoway. Basically, the point of the Dude Shadoway pranks was they had access to celebrities who wanted to be on their show. And so they would book them through their show, but then put them on the Dude Shadoway show. Dude Shadoway was an incompetent buffoon who would constantly get their names wrong, never know what's going on, and always be loud and weird. Does that sound familiar? So I decided to do what I always did back then. I jumped on Craigslist and claimed to be a podcast that I wasn't. I also decided to do the taking calls format since phone larking was basically like a community show with some structure. You're going to be blown away at how familiar this May of 2014 interview was to the modern Reasonable Sanity podcast formula. Enjoy. All right, let's go ahead and give this guy a call. I think we got enough people. So again, I'm going to just remind everybody, Arby's going to be my co-host. What do we want to call it? The Jake and the Cactus?
Well, I thought it was like a serious show or something.
It is. Jake and the Cactus book review.
Oh,
we'll just throw them off with that because I don't really want to say what I claimed I was. Dan, how many people you got that'll be willing to do this?
Me and my buddy will be willing to do it.
Okay, do you guys want to do one together, or should I call you line 1 and line 2?
I'll be line 1, he'll be line 2.
Perfect. And then again, when I go back to you, can you guys do different voices? Like change your voice a little bit if I go back to you? Because I'm going to try to hit this guy quick and fast and be weird and not make it last a half an hour.
Right, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sean, line 3? Yep. Okay. Steven, line 4?
Okay.
All right. Michael, line 5.
I just got hard.
All right, we're going to try this shit.
That's a sexy mop voice.
Yep. You guys all mute until I call your number, please.
Hello.
Hi, is this Chad Meek?
Yes, it is. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Hold on one second.
Not a problem, Chad. Take your time. We're actually in commercial break right now, so we're fine.
Hi, okay, good. We're here?
Yeah, yep. We're in commercial break right now. We'll be going on in just a second. I go by Johnny, and then I got my co-host, The Cactus. So this is Johnny and the Cactus Review.
Hey, Chad. How you doing?
Hi. You pronounce that McCactus?
No. Yeah, McCactus.
Yeah. McCactus, okay.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
So if you give it just what do we got, about 20 seconds? Okay, we got about 20 seconds, so we'll just go ahead. We're going to do, just our normal spin right at the beginning. Then we'll go ahead and introduce you, call you in, and then we'll just go through the questioning after that.
All right, real good.
All right. Welcome back to Johnny and the McCactus book review. Next hour, we are going to be talking to the one and only Gilbert Godfrey and his book about comedy, so that should be pretty interesting. But first, we are going to go into space, the aliens, and just really dive in deep with an expert. He is a ufologist, a filmmaker, and an abductee. This is Chad C. Meek. Chad, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, not a problem. So, I was looking through your bio here, and it says you got a movie coming out called The Giant Rock movie. It looks like 2015 is your estimated release date on that?
Yes, it is, 2015. We actually look to begin principal filming this September. We're just working through all the pre-production stuff.
Is this like a live-action movie, biography style? How are you guys shooting this?
Actually, it's really, the genre is in what we're calling it. It actually mixes in several genres, which is really interesting. But what I'm calling it, a epic UFO thriller, sci-fi thriller.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So, you can throw in action adventure. There's all kinds of things going on. It's pretty intense, and so it encompasses several genres. But that's what we're calling it. Okay.
Is it in the style of like maybe a Blair Witch, like shaky cam?
No. This is with real big actors, and this is a feature film. Yeah. We've had to throw you some names as far as who have signed letter of an interest. We've had Chris Christopherson. He read the script and he wanted in the second day.
Oh wow.
Rudolph Martin, which he's an unknown or not well-known actor, but he's a journeyman actor also. He's from Germany, and he's going to portray Frank Kreitzer, one of our main characters. And actually, we had a call Tom Sizemore once in, and gosh dang it, I'm trying to figure out how to get him in the thing here too. But we're going to go after a couple of A-listers. Our budget's about $30 million right now, this is not your typical independent and film. This is kind of, again, it's out of the bounds of what people would expect for this thing here, but it merits it. It really does.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. It sounds a lot bigger than I had actually, how I was picturing it. I was picturing I actually thought maybe it was more documentary based. Just out of the fact that I know that you were involved in a lot of the actual events that it's based on. So maybe that's kind of what I was picturing. But it sounds like it's actually going to be quite the film.
Yeah, here's what we were faced with early on, and it just didn't. I was looking for reach, and we're going to be taking some dramatic license, very similar to A Fire in the Sky. I mean, this is not a true story or a documentary. It is based on true events, but I've had to deal with various characters. Like, for instance, Howard Hughes was a frequent visitor out at Giant Rock. So was L. Ron Hubbard. So was a person called Jack Parsons, which I'm not sure if. So it kind of rolls into the occultic and both UFO end of this whole thing. So it started off. I thought, okay, well, how am I going to approach this, and how can I get the biggest play out of it? And I thought, well, okay, mockumentary, no, documentary, no. It's going to be a feature film, and really its purpose behind that is our reach will be broader. And also, too, as an underlying theme, I'd like to get more and more people acquainted with this really, really special place that I grew up at called Giant Rock, which is an 8-story freestanding boulder out in the middle of nowhere in the Mojave Desert.
Okay. Well, let's like you, we like to just go to the phones and get some questions answered. I imagine by now our audience is getting pretty excited. It sounds like
it looks like our lines are really lit up right now.
Yeah, so I'm pretty impressed. They must be
no problem. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no
All
problem.
Right, let's go to line one. Line one, you're on the air.
Hey, this is Mike. How's it going?
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Do you have a question for Chad or a comment?
Well, I think that instead of worrying about all these extraterrestrial alien problems, we should worry about the domestic alien problems, the illegal aliens. Ever since Obamacare and, the taxes and get a job, do this, take a job from the white man, I think that the country's gone downhill. And until we can fix the illegal alien problem, it's the Mexicans coming across the border, they're having a bunch of babies.
Okay.
Not really.
Mike, I'm going to go ahead and hang up on you there. You seem to be a little bit off subject, but okay. I respect your opinion, sir. That was
hilarious. There was a political show on before us, so I think it's
and we do get a little carryover sometimes, but I think he was a little mixed up on what kind of aliens we're talking about. So, all right, let's go ahead and go to line two. Line two, you're on the air.
Yeah, this is William.
Hi, William.
How are you doing? I assume that you're familiar with the Greys, correct?
I am.
So
I'm very familiar with them.
Has bred themselves out to a point where it's kind of like inbreeding, but not where they pretty much clone themselves, and now they're looking for new gene material, correct?
That's correct. That's what they're doing. They're looking for the human essence. One of the things that they don't have is they don't have the ability to procreate, like you said. The other thing is they don't have the divine essence that we as humans have, that were given by the primary creator.
Kind of like a genetic succubus.
Right.
Here's my thing, though, and it's going to sound like a crazy theory. So if they have to collect samples as far as genetics, and a lot of people are getting PTSD out of this, a lot of people are writing books, it's making it very aware that the Greys are known. If I was the Greys, I would not want to be known. I would want to just be able to breeze by, collect my product, and just move on. So I really actually think that the Greys have invented the glory hole.
Okay. Yeah. Right. I don't. Yeah, they violated what they've done is they violated the Prime Directive, which there is a Prime Directive, here in where we're at, and they violated it by basically doing the things that they're doing now. I'm
a little confused. What's a glory hole?
I was a little bit confused. I thought I knew a slang term of something that's a glory hole, but I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I wasn't sure of it either.
Yeah, maybe.
Glory holes they place in a bathroom.
Okay. Okay. Well, thanks for calling, caller. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect you. Okay, I see what funny guy was doing there. Okay.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, at least he had some good things to contribute.
I thought it was like a word. I thought he was referring to a wormhole. I didn't know. I had no idea what he was talking about. But anyway.
Yeah, that would be completely normal.
I learn new things every day, incidentally.
Yeah. He was talking about the typically homosexual meeting places where there's a hole cut out. Usually they use some tape to, to not make it so jagged. So
I don't know. I think we should stop talking about this.
I didn't, it's been a fun thing to do. It really has.
Oh yeah. It sounds like it. All right, we're gonna hit another call here. Line 4, you're on.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Steven. Is that Steven?
You're on with Chad.
I'm hearing about black holes, and if you think that has any relation in today's media, if that has any relation to aliens.
Wormholes, or are you talking about wormholes, or are you talking about the whole black holes in space?
Or the glory holes.
Or the glory hole. Yeah, right.
Well, either the glory hole or the black holes.
Yeah, sure. They're used. They're used as they're and what we're talking about is time travel.
My question about those are, how do they not know that there's aliens supposedly, but also they know that a black hole exists?
I don't know. I don't really have an answer to that question. Okay. It's really funny. One thing I can say is that one thing that we it always comes up as far as how do we know this, how do we know that? Do UFOs, do extraterrestrials exist, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I'm flaccid.
All right, thanks for calling. All right, line 5.
Yes, good evening. How are you doing today?
Good. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you for having me on. Going back to what you said before, Chaz, about you were abducted into what appeared to be a stainless steel room. My friend was also abducted by aliens, and he had a similar experience, but he seemed to think that Barack Obama was behind his abduction for some crazy experiments for Obamacare. Do you think that you might have mistaken that experience for perhaps one of those early experiments?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right, Mike.
Thanks.
Yeah, Mike, thanks for calling. I don't think it has a whole lot to do with Obama, so, yeah.
No, we can't blame this on Obama.
Line 7, you're on with Chad Meek.
Hey, hello.
Hello.
Hi, you're on.
How are you?
Hi. I've used the abduction line before. I've claimed that I've been abducted. I mean, several people think I have because I get it. I can't get what's happening. Anytime I just want to take like a couple days out in the woods, have some gay sex, I just say, hey, I'm abducted. My wife buys right into it. Okay, I dumped him. Sorry.
That's funny.
I don't know.
These guys
whether it's true or not.
They're right. I'm thinking this is some sort of Howard Stern thing that don't want to promote anybody else's.
No. We do weird stuff and we get some weird people, but I think that was a kid or something. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and cross our fingers and go to line 6. Line 6, you're on.
Hey, how you doing? This is Dwight.
Hey, Dwight, welcome.
Thanks for having me on the show here. Chad, I don't know if you recognize my voice or not, but I've actually been cast in your movie. Does Dwight McClanahan sound familiar?
No.
I was actually cast to do the alien love scene.
Yeah, we don't have an alien love scene. I'm sorry.
What type of production do you run in there? I was cast to do the love scene with the aliens.
This is for Giant Rock, right, Dwight?
Yeah.
Giant Rock. Okay, I don't. Maybe you got your words mixed up, but it sounds like.
Yeah, there's a porn movie that I think you might have seen, but it's not Giant Rock. Okay.
You think you're fucking funny there, guys? You think you're fucking better than me?
We got a dump. Okay. Okay, go ahead. Hit the switch, McCactus.
You fucking cocksucker. Giddy bitch.
God dang it. Hit the switch.
Yeah, I'm looking at the IMDb page right now, and I don't see a Dwight McClanahan, so I'm kind of thinking maybe...
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And I also don't see a Chris Christopherson, strangely.
All right.
Well, I know. They just signed letter of interest.
Oh, okay. Kind of the first step.
Yeah, I know. And really, I'm allowed to say, that they signed letter of interest. But as far as anything other than that, we have not agreed on a set dollar amount or anything like that. And so that's in the future. But there's actually been a whole bunch of other people that that have come at me. But it's a situation where unless I have a actual letter of interest signed by the celebrity, I just don't mention their names. But there's some interesting people. I tell you, people are going to be surprised as far as I live in a crazy world, and absolutely anything is possible. In fact, most things are really becoming actually more and more plausible as far as when it comes to this whole thing. So it's a lot of fun. But go ahead.
Good, perfect. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So I'll go ahead and just. It looks based on the notes that I was given here, it looks like you'll be doing a guest appearance at McNasty Book and Adult Novelty in Roy, New Mexico on May 24th, so you can go ahead and talk to Chad in person. And his movie will be coming out sometime in 2015. He was aiming for September, if I'm not mistaken. And I highly recommend, everybody go and watch this movie. You could probably get a good bootleg of it off of the Pirate Bay, or some guy in the inner city who's bootlegging, something like that. So.
I don't know though. It's like, if it's not a big movie, it might take a while to get. You might have to wait another month.
Yeah.
Fucking Dwight's back.
Dwight's
I hope an alien breaks you raw dog style, you motherfucker. These guys don't know who they're fucking with.
All right.
I can get back on this station anytime I want.
Okay. All right.
Motherfucker.
Our lines, Dwight. Your bullshit.
All right, everybody. This has been Crazy Chad. We keep Meek on our show tonight. So thank you, Chad. It's been a great time, you crazy bastard.
That call really is the prototype to it all. After editing that unreleased 45-minute interview down to just 16 minutes, it became very clear to me that Reasonable Sanity Podcast was a blunt ripoff of some show called Johnny and the McCactus from 2014. The shame I feel now. Anyways, that's it for a Reasonably Sane Tale Part 1. Tune in to the next episode for the dramatic conclusion to a podcast that nearly nobody's ever heard of.
Jeannie, you're gonna give Deputy Hillock a heart attack.
I'm gonna hang up. No, I'm sorry. I don't want to know that you're.
God damn it, you cunt!